How do you repair your credit after a bankruptcy? So you've made the ultimate sacrifice, you've filed bankruptcy, and now you're looking to pick up the pieces. In this video, we'll show you how to do that. In this video, we'll discuss the different types of bankruptcies that exist, what a bankruptcy does to your actual score, and then I'll share some valuable steps that you can implement right away to start growing your credit scores. As something that kind of happens frequently is a lot of clients will come to me and they're looking to increase their credit standing and build out their financial life. And in some cases, there really isn't a viable option for them. In other words, they're in the throes of massive financial issues. They have more money going out than they have coming in, and there really isn't going to be a fix for them. In many situations, bankruptcy might be an option for them. Now, I'm not an attorney, so I only give my opinion on things, but if you're in a situation to where you can't pay your bills and creditors are coming after you and they're trying to sue you, that's what bankruptcy is for. It's meant to protect you. So the federal government steps in and essentially says, I'm going to protect this client, I'm going to protect this consumer because they filed for bankruptcy protection. It stops the swirling of collections, it stops the lawsuits, it stops all that stuff. So let's talk about what bankruptcy looks like. In general, there's 6 different chapters of bankruptcy, and really there's only going to be 2 bankruptcies that you oftentimes will see on the personal side anyways. One of them is a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and one of them is a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Okay, the Chapter 7 bankruptcy is what's known as liquidation, and this is where the bankruptcy attorney is going to actually complete what's called a means test, and they're going to see that if they can liquidate all of your assets minus a few things and then completely discharge your bankruptcy. This works well for people that actually don't have a whole lot of assets, right? Because in bankruptcy, there's some main assets that are always protected. Your house is almost always protected. It is always protected. Your vehicle that you use to go to work is almost always protected. The only cases where it's not protected is if you have a Mercedes or a luxury vehicle. The bankruptcy courts don't like you filing bankruptcy and then driving around in a luxury vehicle. That's understandable, right? So you've got your vehicle that's protected, and then of course all of your retirement assets are protected. That means everything that's in your IRAs, all of your 401k, that's all protected. So a Chapter 7 works really well if you don't have a whole ton of other assets, because pretty much your home, your vehicle, and your retirement is protected and the rest is just discharged. That type of bankruptcy stays on your credit for 10 years. The next type of bankruptcy is going to be what's known as a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. This is also known as a wage earners plan. Essentially, a Chapter 13 reorganizes and repays debts. Specifically, what ends up happening is the bankruptcy courts take a look at all the debt that is owed. They run another kind of income means test and determine what disposable income you have and how much you can use of that disposable income to pay back these creditors. And then the creditors get a certain amount that's based on the bankruptcy courts and what they determine each creditor should get. Usually those repayment plans go for 5 years, and then after 5 years, the bankruptcy is discharged, and then after 7 years, it's taken off your credit completely. Okay, so how does a bankruptcy impact your credit anyways? I mean, it is fair to say that a bankruptcy is not good, right? Of course a bankruptcy is not good. It's shown that you've had a situation that you couldn't fight your way out of financially, right? And you've kind of had to throw down, fold the cards, and you've had to elicit federal help. Does that mean that you're a terrible person? It does not mean that you're a terrible person. It does not mean that you won't ever be able to get credit again, but the initial impact is going to be significant. It's a significant drop in score, probably 100 to 200 points, depending upon where you're at. If you're already in a situation where you're behind on all your bills, adding a bankruptcy is not going to make it that worse. I mean, really, you have to think about it from a risk perspective in terms of credit score drop. Because remember, everything's based on a risk continuum on your credit profile. If a person fell into financial turmoil and was not able to work their way out of that and they had to file bankruptcy, of course, initially, your credit scores are going to tank. But over time, you can aid in recovering your score. Before we get into how to recover your credit from a bankruptcy, please like my video and subscribe to my channel. I'll be working hard to bring you a video each weekday over personal finance topics, including lending and credit. All right, if bankruptcy is your truth, relax. It's going to be okay. The federal government has your back. Your creditors could no longer sue you, and now it's time to rebuild your credit. The first thing I recommend that you do is you subscribe to a credit monitoring service, and no, Credit Karma is not going to cut it. The credit monitoring service has to have all 3 credit bureaus. It has to provide a tri-merge report, and hopefully it has some amazing tools to help you simulate different activities. In the link in the description, there's going to be a link for Smart Credit. That's the tri-merge report that we prefer to use for our clients. Once you have your tri-merge report, you're going to look at all of your accounts and make sure that the accounts that you included in your bankruptcy all show a 0 balance. So if you've got 10 different accounts, 3 different installment loans, 7 different credit cards that were all included in this bankruptcy, and it's a Chapter 7, make sure that the balances are represented as 0. This is probably one of the most common mistakes that I see when I'm looking at a person's credit report after they filed bankruptcy, is that the creditor doesn't show it as zeroed out. Now remember, a bankruptcy, the whole point of a bankruptcy is to zero out your debt. So that's one of the bigger violations. Another violation that I see all the time is that the creditor is actually still reporting negative activity to the credit bureaus even after the bankruptcy. Most likely this is not intentional or with malice from the creditor. It's just on accident, but it still shows that the account is still being reported as negative even after the bankruptcy has been filed and discharged. Another scenario is where the account is still showing active that was included in a bankruptcy. So it should no longer be active. It should be closed. It should not be reporting any longer to the credit bureaus, and it should show no balance. So for each one of your bankruptcy designated items, you want to go through each one of the credit bureaus. You want to make sure that each account on each one of the credit bureaus is consistent across all 3 credit bureaus. There's no errors. None of the items that I had just mentioned are showing up on your credit report. If you find any inaccuracies, you should most certainly dispute those errors and inaccuracies. And the way you can do that is you can write letters to the credit bureaus. You can also write letters to the original creditors when there's a discrepancy on your credit profile when it comes to a bankruptcy. Once a client files bankruptcy, the creditors are very much bound by law. Now, what that means is that they're no longer able to report items. So if there's been some time since your bankruptcy was discharged, oftentimes disputing the erroneous information, disputing the inaccuracies is going to be very beneficial, and oftentimes will amount to a deletion off your credit profile in some cases. So one of the main things to remember when you file a bankruptcy is there's going to be certain items that do not get discharged in your bankruptcy. One of those is going to be your student loans, and the other is going to be tax implications, right? So remember that. And of course, if you owe child support or anything like that, none of that stuff's discharged in a bankruptcy. It's important to know that because I can tell you that a lot of clients have come to me and they assume that their student loans were being discharged in that bankruptcy, and of course they're not. You forever owe student loans. Okay, so how do you rebuild after you file bankruptcy, after you went through and you try to clean up your bankruptcy situation on your credit report as much as possible? Secured cards are always a really good option. And that means that you're going to give a security deposit for a credit card, and they're going to give you a credit line that matches the security deposit that you gave them. Another really good option is going to be to have friends or family add you as an authorized user on their credit card. Most financial institutions, major credit card companies, will allow you to actually piggyback a primary user's credit, meaning that you can be added as an authorized user to, let's say, a Discover card that has 10 years of history and a $30,000 limit and perfect pay history, and you will actually inherit all 10 years of that history from your family or friend. Those are also what are known as seasoned trade lines. Now, you do want to get at least one credit card that's going to be in your own name for the time being. So an AU account works, but we also want to start reestablishing credit in your name. And there's a few companies out there that work well. Believe it or not, and I'm always talking about Capital One, I'm not sure why that is, but Capital One will allow you to secure another card even if you had one written off in bankruptcy. Capital One will also allow you to have negative credit history and start up a new credit card with them. There's other high-risk lenders out there like First Premier, Credit One Bank, and several others. that will do high-risk type credit cards. The terms aren't very pretty, but it will allow you to reestablish your credit. So the final thing you can do is you can make your payments on time, okay? So we had the bankruptcy, we had the issue. One of the most tragic things that I see is that I see people filed their bankruptcy and it didn't help their situation. They continued to have financial issues after the bankruptcy. And what lenders are looking for and what creditors are looking for is they're looking to see that you had your life issue, but what did you do after your life issue? Were you able to pick yourself up and move forward? Or did you put yourself in a situation that was identical to the situation you put yourself into when you filed bankruptcy? In other words, after you file bankruptcy, you really have to have a perfect walk after that. If that walk is perfect, then other lenders will invitingly give you extensions of credit. You can get a mortgage. You can get all kinds of fun things, so long as the damage and the tornado stopped at that bankruptcy. Okay, another good thing to do while you're reestablishing credit from a bankruptcy, you've chiseled out your credit report, you're getting secure cards, you've maybe got an authorized user account for mom, dad, sister, brother, uncle. You're maintaining that perfect credit profile. After the bankruptcy, make sure that you create a consistent level of employment. And this is where a lot of people get denied. Let's say you filed your bankruptcy and you're trying to get a mortgage after that bankruptcy. If they see that you've had 4 jobs in the last year, there's a very good possibility that you're going to get denied for that mortgage or possibly for that credit card. They want to see consistency. They want to see that you had your problem, you've leveled out, you've kept the same job, and we haven't had any other issues moving forward.